How did Griselda Blanco go from being an impoverished young mother to one of the most powerful drug lords in history? And how did she get so much power that even the police were afraid of her? Hi, I'm your host, and today we're exploring the origins of the most feared woman in the world. Turn on the captions for a Spanish translation. Our story begins in the 1970s in a poor neighborhood in Colombia. At age 13, Griselda became pregnant and soon after gave birth to her first child. With a baby in one hand and a dream in the other, Griselda set out to make something of herself. But how could she provide for her family while living in poverty? She had no marketable skills and a criminal record that would make any employer think twice. So she turned to the only thing she knew: selling small amounts of drugs on the streets. In a short time, she was making enough money to support her family and put her kids through school. But it was not long before the local drug kingpin noticed her talent for sales and offered her a position as his accountant. Though she had no experience in accounting, she quickly learned the ropes. In fact, she was a natural. Soon she was promoted to chief operating officer. Thanks to her intelligence and ambition, she climbed the ranks of the organization faster than anyone could have imagined. At the same time, the Colombian cartels were engaged in a violent battle with the government. As the violence escalated, the cartels needed someone to oversee their financial operations, someone who could keep the money flowing despite the turmoil. The drug lord handed over the reins of his organization to Griselda and went to war, and she didn't let him down. She streamlined the accounting process, implemented inventory controls, and made sure the money kept coming in. In fact, she was so good at what she did that, when the drug lord was finally killed by the government, she was asked to take over the cartel. With the cartel's assets and her experience at the helm, Griselda was able to expand the organization's reach into new markets and soon found herself at the top of the Forbes Most Powerful Women list. She also took the #1 spot on the FBI's Most Wanted list. But how did she do it? How did Griselda become so powerful that the police were afraid of her? Part of her success can be attributed to her ruthless nature. She was unafraid to get her hands dirty and was willing to do whatever it took to protect her turf. She built a loyal army of bodyguards who were trained to kill and were unafraid to use them. Whenever she traveled, she moved like a military operation with bodyguards surrounding her every step of the way. Her paranoia was legendary. She never let anyone out of her sight for long and was convinced that everyone was out to get her. She surrounded herself with informants and spies who told her everything they heard and saw. Even her own family members weren't safe from her paranoia. She suspected that they were plotting against her and had them followed, beaten, and even killed. Another part of her success was her ability to stay ahead of the police. She was always one step ahead of them and seemed to know what they were planning before they even did. She used her wealth and power to bribe officials and buy their silence. And when that didn't work, she used her army of bodyguards to intimidate them. In the end, it was her own arrogance that led to her downfall. She became so powerful and wealthy that she thought she was untouchable. She threw lavish parties that made headlines around the world, and made it a point to be seen with celebrities and politicians. She became famous in her own right and thought that she was invincible. But the police were finally able to catch up to her, and in 2012 she was extradited to the United States to face drug trafficking charges. She was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years and died behind bars in 2022. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other videos about the most powerful women in history. And if you want to know more about the world of Pablo Escobar, then watch this video or this video.